I've seen the benefits of USAID in some of the most impoverished countries in the world, and I've seen the nightmares and horrors where there are no immunizations, there's no food.
Today on the Morning Edition, hundreds of Alaskans fill a town hall in Anchorage hoping for answers, but key notable figures were not in attendance. Why Senator Dan Sullivan says he declined his invite. Plus, liquid natural gas could be flowing to Alaskans within the next few years. According to Governor Dunleavy, we'll have the latest updates on the developer willing to take on the task. And later, it's a sweet treat that's taken the internet by storm. We'll learn more about the Dubai chocolate bar and why it comes with a hefty price tag as the Morning Edition continues. Good Friday morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up with us. Have you ever tried that, Aaron?
I haven't, but it's all over my feed.
I know. I've seen it all over social media. Like, it looks tasty, but I don't know. I haven't tried it yet because of the hefty price tag.
And I've seen, you know, any of these things that go viral, people tend to try them. Remember it was the pickle and the candy and the sour?
Oh, yeah, no, I can't do all that.
It just tends to be one of those things. I'm certainly looking forward to hearing more about that because I'm not sure what Dubai chocolate is. Waking up this morning, we are sitting up under some of that clear skies across South Central, and that sunshine is set to make a return as we welcome in the mid-morning and early afternoon, although cloud coverage will build back in towards the evening hour. Still waking up to those temperatures in the 20s and the 30s across South Central. While we are on the drier side, we'll be watching for some increasing showers out towards Prince William Sound, maybe even seeing some light snow through the Copper River Basin overnight into tomorrow. But you can see those temperatures, 20s and 30s, with a few locations out towards eastern Prince William Sound already climbing into the 40s. So a pleasant start to your Friday. Another beautiful stretch of weather that has been with us. And of course, we are going to see a bit more cloud coverage overnight into tomorrow, but still going to hold on to these temperatures staying on the warmer side. Today may be a great day to grab that bike and bike into work. You can see quiet conditions. Those temperatures will easily warm back into the 30s and 40s. Will be a hair degree cooler today in many locations. In fact, this trend of cooler conditions will stay with us into the weekend and next week. Of course, we'll still see that potential for highs to climb into the lower 40s. The vast majority of this week, we've seen highs climbing as high as about 47 to 49 degrees, with even some 50s being reported. Quiet to start off the morning, but you can see that cloud coverage streaming in from the south, southeast. That's going to stay with us throughout the day. And then there's that band of moisture we're watching pushing to the northwest that will bring some light rain showers to Prince William Sound and possibly some snow showers through parts of the Copper River Basin overnight on into your Saturday. Coming up on my full forecast, we'll be talking about those cooler conditions that are heading to a large portion of the state, particularly the interior. Light snow returns out west with that slow moderation of those temperatures back to warmer conditions, and of course ridging over the Bering. I'll have those details in that 7-day forecast coming up.
New this morning, no one was injured after a fire broke out late last night at the Anchorage Pioneer Home, but 10 elders are temporarily displaced. That's according to the Alaska Department of Family and Community Services. According to a release, the fire broke out in a residence room on the second floor of the building on West 11th Avenue. Communications Director Brian Studstill said the fire was quickly contained due to the facility's sprinkler system. Studstill says 10 elders have been temporarily relocated within the Pioneer Home while cleanup efforts take place. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Studstill says the Pioneer Home is accepting donations for displaced residents who've lost belongings due to fire and water damage. Visit our website to learn how you can help. After hundreds of Alaskans left a town hall disappointed last week, unattended by elected officials, we've been working to find out why they didn't attend and the questions being asked. Aubrey Weiber with the 907 Initiative says nearly 700 people were in attendance to the event at the Lusac Library. In the invitation to the town hall, the initiative called for Senator Dan Sullivan and Congressman Nick Begich to show up to answer to their constituents on how they're planning to deal with potential Medicaid cuts and other federal budget issues. During a press conference, Senator Dan Sullivan said he didn't believe the town hall was looking for a productive conversation, but 907's Weber disagrees.
I've done the big town halls, and, you know, I'll do them again. But there's an element of theater to some of this where when you go, not everybody, but people stand up and they're looking for that viral moment and they're yelling and screaming. And you know what that does? The other people who come to the town hall want a constructive engagement with their senator, they get wiped out.
You know, I have heard Senator Sullivan talk about how he represents all of Alaska, and that includes the group that was at the library that night. Yeah, there are some intimidating crowds to go into when you're an elected official. There is absolutely no threat of physical harm or violence. These are potentially tough questions, but that's the job. And if he is afraid to answer questions from his constituents, maybe he needs to take some time and reflect on that.
Sullivan called his legislative address on Friday the ultimate town hall, but Weiber argues it's not the same as a direct address to Sullivan's constituents. Weiber says despite any criticisms of a short notice invitation or tough crowd, it's a matter of priority. Now, Begich and Senator Lisa Murkowski have not yet responded to our request for comment, though Murkowski and Begich have both each held at least one virtual town hall of their own for Alaskan constituents this year. Governor Mike Dunleavy announced progress in the state's mission to build a liquefied natural gas pipeline. In a press conference from Tokyo last night, the governor, along with the Alaska Gasline Development Corporation president, announced a binding contract with Glenfarne, a privately held developer, owner, and operator of energy infrastructure assets. Glenfarne will assume the role of Alaska LNG's lead developer, holding 75% of 8-Star Alaska, a subsidiary created by AGDC to manage Alaska LNG Project assets. While a timeline is still somewhat fluid, Governor Dunleavy believes this is a major step forward.
The President of the United States is behind this pipeline. His secretaries are behind the pipeline. The need for gas is there. The need for gas in an AI supercomputing world that's trying to electrify itself and in some cases across Asia decarbonize itself. This makes our gas really attractive.
The governor thinks the project will be delivering LNG to Alaskans in the next few years. A family fearing the worst but hoping for the best after an Eagle River man went missing earlier this month. The family of Tony Mac Kronos says they knew something was wrong when they discovered the back door of his home was kicked in. 40-year-old Kronos, who formerly went by Joshua Kronbach, recently bought land in Hawaii, and his sister says he was in a good place. His father called police to report that no one could locate his son. Police declared Kronos missing the same day, and he hasn't been seen since. His sister says her parents did find her brother's wallet inside his house. His family has been putting missing person flyers around Eagle River.
We've driven by. My parents have been there. They said it wasn't particularly disturbed, but the back door had been kicked in. So that was concerning enough for us to take this seriously enough to call the police.
There's an event taking place on Saturday at 3 p.m. at Eagle River Town Square to spread missing person posters, encouraging others to help in the search for Kronos. The National Transportation Safety Board says it is no longer formally investigating an incident in which a student pilot with 2 of his own kids on board landed on a frozen Kenai Peninsula lake. This is after Alaska State Troopers were informed of an overdue plane Sunday night. That aircraft was found about 12 hours later on the west side of the Kenai Peninsula in the Tustamina Lake area, with the pilot, John Morris, and his 2 daughters seen perched on the plane's wings in this photo before being rescued by the Alaska National Guard. The Associated Press reports that Morris failed to report the incident, and as a student pilot, he was technically not allowed to fly with passengers. However, the NTSB says because there were no major injuries or damage to the aircraft involved, the event does not meet its threshold to continue with an investigation. But the Federal Aviation Administration is still looking into this, including determining any potential consequences.
That'll be determined by the FAA. We have no enforcement with NTSB. That's not we're just here we're looking for probable cause. So the FAA side of the investigation will handle his not reporting the accident.
The FAA would not answer the question of what legal actions Morris could face. The agency does say that in a general sense, its actions depend on the circumstances and can range from counseling to training to pilots having their certifications suspended or revoked. Alaska's news source has made several attempts to contact the pilot, but we've not yet heard back. Covering the interior, Alaska's oldest state fair has 5 new directors on its board. The annual meeting of the Tanana Valley State Fair Association drew 77 members in person and another dozen online. Board President Mike Barch says it was the largest attendance he's ever seen. The new candidates are Randy Carnahan, April Monroe, Jody Thomas, Danielle Gibbs, and Missy Reese. There's been controversy over a drag show that was canceled, and much of the public testimony centered on that. Those present outlined their visions for the fair's future.
This fair should serve as a showcase for all that Fairbanks has to offer and all that we are. It should be a place where we share our traditions, our talents, and our various cultures.
It's a fully underutilized facility. There's multiple arenas, there's multiple places. I think there's a lot of opportunity to generate revenue for hosting events there.
If you don't like an event that is happening and it's a paid event and it's a closed door, don't buy a ticket and go in.
The new members are slated to be inducted into the board at the Fair Association's next meeting on April 16th. After the break, time is running out to get your guesses in for this year's Nenana Ice Classic. We'll take a live look at where the tripod stands now and compare the current ice thickness to years past. Plus, wildfire season is underway already. While firefighters prepare for what's ahead, we'll tell you what you can do now to prepare your home.
A stretch of springtime warmth remains with us, although to the north, we are tapping into some cooler weather. I'll have more on that. But first, sunrise, 7:33 in Anchorage, 7:20 in Fairbanks. Your full forecast is next.
Welcome back. You have a little more than a week to make your guesses on when the tripod might give way in this year's Nenana Ice Classic. Now, here's a live look at that tripod from NenanaIceClassic.com. Last year, the winning time was April 27th at 5:18 p.m. The winner taking home a $210,000 jackpot. Now, we know this winter season looked a lot different from the previous. Right now, according to the Ice Classic website, the river ice is sitting at 35 inches. At this time last year, the ice was between 44 and 50 inches. The earliest it's ever gone out was in 2019. That was on April 14th at 12:21 a.m. At this time that year, the ice was at 25.3 inches. So just a little bit of data there, just in case it helps anyone make their guesses. Do you have any guesses, Aaron?
I think it's going to be sometime around late April and early May, but as we've seen each year, it can vary greatly. And of course, we're going to see that integrity of the ice probably re-strengthen here over the next couple of days as those temperatures continue to remain on the cooler side for parts of the interior. Those temperatures the past week and a half certainly have been sitting and feeling more and more like spring. You can see that stretch of warmth this week. We climbed into the upper 40s to near 50 degrees Tuesday and Wednesday. Of course, with that being said, we have seen some 50s reported across South Central, particularly in the valley through East Anchorage, as well as out towards coastal regions. Waking up to 9 degrees in Fairbanks, 13 below in Utqiagvik, 6 below in Nome. We've got that ridge of high pressure as you head out towards the Bering and the Aleutians. That will remain with us for the time being, and another beautiful day expected out towards southeast. So what we're watching this morning, there's that ridge. We do have a weak low that is pushing through parts of the Gulf of Alaska, and embedded within that is that gusty winds that we are seeing as that tightening pressure gradient remains. So areas of the eastern Aleutians, the Alaska Peninsula, embedded within that ridge and that trough to the east, holding on to some of those gusty conditions. That's where we're also still seeing some of that on and off snow showers, which will remain. Now, max winds will likely gust at about 50 miles per hour through the remainder of the day. But as we've seen, a rogue gust up to about 70 miles per hour. So we could see some locally higher wind speeds to be expected. Holding on to some of that coastal activity set to increase later today, primarily for Prince William Sound. However, overnight into tomorrow, if we manage to see some of that moisture shifting a bit farther to the northwest, we could tap into some of that precip potential for Anchorage into parts of the valley. Not guaranteed, but we could see some light flurry activity, if not some wintry mix overnight into tomorrow. And of course, some light snow showers expected for the Copper River Basin. And then after several days of sunshine and colder conditions, those temperatures are warming out west. And we are also watching some snow showers building in overnight into tomorrow. Now, embedded within that, we'll also see some areas of freezing drizzle, freezing rain within some of that light snow showers. So be prepared for that, as that will lead to some localized concerns on those roadways with some hazardous road conditions expected. So that's what we're going to be watching out west. Temperature-wise, still holding on to that warmth across South Central as we top back out in the 30s and the 40s throughout the afternoon hours. There's that warmer weather building in out west. We're trading those sub-zero lows for afternoon highs, returning back into the upper teens and the lower 20s. And you can see through parts of the interior out towards the Beaufort Seacoast. This is where we're going to continue to hold on to some of those chillier conditions. Afternoon highs through the interior likely will remain in the teens and the 20s through at least the first part of next week. We are on the quieter side to close out the week. You can see by Sunday evening the chance for some snow returns, and that will kickstart a fairly active weather pattern that will keep snow in the forecast through a large portion of next week. 40s across the Kenai today. Be prepared for some gusty winds out towards Kodiak through Seward. 46 degrees in Valdez, 39 in Golcana. Into the valley, we are going to see some of that sunshine sticking around throughout the day. A hair degree cooler than previous afternoons, but still a nice spring day as you get outdoors. You can see daily highs flirting with the upper 30s and lower 40s. Watching a chance for some wintry mix next week.
Alaska is heating up, and so is our wildfire season. Quinn White spoke with Anchorage Wildfire Chief John Glover to learn more about what homeowners can do to make their properties fire-wise.
I'm at a friend's house on the Anchorage hillside. Now, he's already done quite a bit of wildfire prevention on his property, but still, wildfires could be unpredictable, and he tells me he still worries about a possibility. So he invited us here to do a walkthrough with the Anchorage Fire Department.
Access and egress to the home. And then on the approach here, when we see vegetation, different types of vegetation out here. Looking at everything that could cause a fire. We can look at the ground fuels, the surface fuels, and see that it's relatively, combustible, light flashy fuels that are grassy, not an area that we mow. So it would be receptive to amber wash. Anchorage Wildfire Division Chief John Glover suggests things like taking limbs off spruce trees. Try and get about 6 to 8 foot up off the ground. And then we create some separation between those surface fuels and the actual timber fuel that we see here. He also recommends spacing trees about 10 feet apart if possible. It makes it less likely that a fire will spread from tree to tree. There's great separation between any timber and the home. I mean, we have greater than 50 foot and closer to like 100 foot in most of the areas. Having a well-manicured lawn also helps lessen the likelihood of fire spread. Now, if there was a message that you could send to homeowners ahead of this fire season, what would it be? Now's the time to prepare your home. Ensure that it's fire-wise. One of the most challenging things to do is evacuate the public when we're in a high-severity event, and that's the wrong time to be planning. Chief Glover tells me that the biggest thing you could do is start preparing early, and if you have any questions, reach out to the fire department. Quinn White, Alaska's news source.
The municipality of Anchorage has opened free woodlots for property owners to drop off wood debris. You can find more information over on our website and mobile app. Smoke jumpers in Fairbanks are getting ready to fight those fires. They're training with BLM. Alaska Fire Chief Smoke Jumper Bill Kramer says it's intense. He says the purpose of this exercise is to refresh jumpers on procedures and get used to new equipment. So what's it like to jump? Kramer says one of the most surprising parts of parachuting is how quiet it is.
You're coming from a very noisy aircraft. Some of the deployment is fairly noisy, and then all of a sudden it's pretty peaceful. So you have a few moments actually to just kind of enjoy that before it's time to get to work.
The training will last up until May.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically and stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.